it going, YouTube? Today we're gonna do a little demonstration on how to make fire starters using household items. I was just watching the Keith Budd's new video, and he had some good tips in there, so I'm gonna give it my best shot and see what we come up with. I got my Coleman camping stove that I bought for my Jeep, so I'm gonna use that so I don't get my stove a mess. So it'll be a good chance for me to test out this stove as well. So let's get started. I don't think my wife would appreciate it if I was to use the Rachael Ray pans we got as a wedding gift. So I'm gonna go in the basement and see if we have any of our old pans. Really? I gotta move the air conditioner? Is it back there in that box? Alright, give me a minute. Alright, there we go. Old pots and pans. I can already tell that this is going to make a huge mess, so I don't want to mess up any of our good pots and pans. So I'm going to use these junky old ones, probably from Walmart or something, who knows. So yeah, make sure you have a junky old pan you can use for this, because you're going to really make a mess, I believe. I've never really done this, so I can only assume melting wax is going to make a giant mess. If you don't have junky old pans, you can always go to the thrift store. They always got old pots and pans for like 75 cents, whatever. So there we go. I got my burner and my pot. Oh, also, I always save these. A coffee can. Is this one of the metal ones? Yeah. You don't want a coffee can too. So there we go, coffee can. I don't know, that might be too big. We'll try it out anyway. I'm gonna take this label off so it's just metal. And Keith suggested cutting a notch in it so you can pour it. But I'm not gonna be pouring any wax in this video. I'm just gonna be dipping stuff in here. So I'm not gonna cut the notch right now. Maybe that's for a later video. So let me get this all set up. Oh, one more thing. Got the freezer. I've been freezing these candles. I've learned that if you want to get wax out of an old candle, if you freeze it, the wax will just pop right out. So we'll give that a try. And this one, I don't know what happened to this candle. The freaking wick just like came out or something. So this candle's still pretty full, but there's no wick. Look, that wax is already ready to come out. And this one's pretty much done with, so I'm just gonna melt this down too. So there you go. You got your candles, your burner, your boiler, and that's about it. So let's get started. If you're gonna wear a suit and a tie like I am while I'm making fire starters, make sure you wear proper protection, you know, an apron, some rubber gloves. You never know, we're gonna make a giant mess. Might as well keep your suit clean. So, if you're wearing a nice fancy suit while you make fire starters, make sure you wear protection. The pot I had before I don't think was big enough, so I had to get a bigger one. So that looks like it'll be a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with water because we need to get some water boiling. Oh God, there's dirty dishes in the sink. My wife's going to kill me. Ew. I'll clean these afterwards, I swear. She doesn't like when I film dirty dishes. So, this doesn't have to be all the way filled, just to where the wax is going to be. So that should be pretty good. That might even be too much. Move my stuff. Okay, so got my water and well, what the heck? This thing floats. Well, maybe if I put some wax in there, it will sink. What I'm doing is I'm trying to get this frozen candle out. You know what? Sucks. I'm just chopping the wax up with a knife. So I've got my wax all broken apart out of the candle. This thing is still not sinking, so not really sure what to do about that yet. I'm gonna go ahead and start this stove up. So here we go. And we just want to get this water to boil so this wax melts. So we'll let that sit for a bit, let it boil, and we'll check back in on it. So what I've done as this wax boils, this water boils, I set up some tin foil over here because Keith suggested that after you dip it, you place it on tin foil. I've got my cotton squares. That's what we're going to do today. Cotton squares. You know, they sell the round ones for the fire discs. We don't have those. My wife bought square ones for some reason. So we're going to use squares. And I also have these little tongs. Keith said to use tweezers. I'm not sure if, you know what, I think I'm going to have to use tweezers. Because I'm trying to grip this and this thing just kind of slides right out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use tweezers, actual tweezers. These don't grip it good enough. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some tweezers. I've had a little change of plans here. I'm reading the back of this stove that I bought, and it says it can make carbon monoxide. Yeah, carbon monoxide. It says not for use indoors, so I did not know that. I thought it was like a little indoor stove too. So just to avoid the risk, I switched to the stove. So we'll give it a few more minutes, let this wax melt. It's starting to melt a little bit, so that's good. And then we'll go from there. The wax is melting down pretty good, so I'm about ready here. You know, the neighbors walking by probably thinks I'm like cooking crack or something, but it's all good. So we're almost there. I got my pads right here. And this is tin foil, so it's not going to catch on fire, so I moved it as close to the pan as possible. That way I'm not going to be dripping wax everywhere. And I got the little tweezers. So we're almost ready to begin here. Still don't know why this thing is floating all around. It's kind of annoying. Sure, I'm doing something wrong, but this works, so why not? The wax is pretty much ready to go. It doesn't have to be completely melted. There can be some chunks in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Boom, boom. Just like that. Get this closer. Just dip it in really quick, pull it out, because like Keith said, you don't want to absorb all the wax into the cotton. You just want a coating of wax on it. So really quickly, lay it on your foil when you're done and let it dry. So there we go. I've got 7 fire starters just like that. That easy. No mess. No big deal. Got a little piece of wax right here on the handle, which I'll be able to get off. I'm gonna have to buy new tweezers because these got trashed. Didn't really think I actually had to use tweezers, but they get a good grip on it, so I guess use tweezers for this. How fast do these dry? I kind of want to double dip these. I wonder if that's possible. these are going to be tough to get off this foil. Oh, there we go. I'm going to try to double dip one and see what happens. Well, I guess that's it. I'm going to let these dry, turn this science experiment off, and we'll get back to you. So I'm just letting everything cool off, letting the wax solidify. I'm just going to leave it in this coffee can, and I can just use this whenever I make fire starters, and I can just always add chunks of wax to it as well. So I'm just letting all this stuff kind of dry off, harden up, solidify. This is the finished product. Since it's the parts that are solid cotton, you can see soaked up a lot of wax, but then there's these perforations in between that really have no wax in them whatsoever. So I don't know how that's going to affect it, because these are the squares. It's not just the solid round circle, it's like these square things. But the cool thing right off the bat I can see about these is, maybe I shouldn't use the nice scissors, use these junky scissors. You're going to be able to cut these into little individual fire starters. Just little tiny things, you know. So who knows how well this one little strip's going to work, but if it does work out well, I can cut them all up into individual strips, or I could use them as a whole thing, so it really depends. But that's the first cool thing I noticed right off the bat about using these squares. I think I'm going to test one out, see how it does, just this little piece. I'm down here in the basement where I like to burn little stuff so the neighbors can't see what I'm doing, and let's check this out. So a little tiny flame going. That's pretty much the most of it right there. It smelled really good while it was burning. Tropical fruits. Yeah, and it burned for about almost 4 minutes, like 3.45, right around there. Just went out. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty good for that little strip. So I think I'm gonna cut them all into strips, put them in a little tiny container, and there you go. I got a whole bunch of fire starters right there. So I don't know. That's my first attempt at making my own fire starters. So I mean, if you guys have any advice or tips, feel free to comment. Make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Survival for the poor. Homemade and free. The best kind of stuff you can get.